Hello and welcome to the SportsGrad podcast. My name is Ryan Walker and with me, as usual, is the GPS, Ruben Williams. How are you, mate?
I'm fantastic. Thank you, Ryan. Always a pleasure to be chatting with you.
It's good. It's it's raining outside. I couldn't think of a better thing to be doing than podding, given we can't step foot outdoors. So it's a pleasure to be with you this morning, Ruse.
Yes. Saturday sesh. I'm enjoying these.
Yeah, I mean, we do tend to mix and match our recording studio times. It's tough to get the bookings in the studio. So we've chosen a Saturday morning, usually night time. So I'm feeling a good Saturday energy today and very excited for this one. Before we start, obviously got to give a shout out to our good friends at Deakin University, where every single course is backed by industry experts. So you can be confident that you'll get the job you want with a degree that employers want. Deakin University, one of the great catchlines of all time, progressive real-world learning.
We love it.
We do love it. If you want to learn a bit more about who we are or want to ask us any questions at all, feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. We would love to hear from you. So there's a link to do so in our show notes. Today, Ruben, we are chatting about how to find career direction, which comes from principle number 7 of how to get a job in sport without getting lucky, which is our 100th episode. Would you believe it? We're up to 121 today.
No, they are flying by.
They are flying by. So we're getting through these principles, which is awesome. So I'll hand it over to you, young man.
Yes, well, this is a topic very close to my heart because I spent a lot of time trying to figure out where I was going to take my career. I spent a year and a half doing marketing, dropped out of that, went into a double degree, thought I would go down exercise science, found my way into sport management, and now doing SportsGrad, which is completely different. So things are always changing. So this is a very important topic and something that everyone needs to work out because you always need something to work towards. And when you've got something to work towards, then you can start to figure out the steps on how to get there. And it usually comes pretty naturally. Once you know what you're working towards, you can generally figure it out. So you mentioned the 8 principles. Principle number 7 of how to get a job without getting lucky is discover your career path by pursuing your genuine curiosity. Now, this came from our good mate, Aman Alawali, who we'll get to in just a second from the Kansas City Chiefs, but he talked a lot about how success comes from enjoying solving the types of challenges that you want to solve, as opposed to enjoying work because you think it looks cool or pursuing a role that you think other people are going to, like you for. One of the typical ones that pops up a lot is, people always mention they want to be a player agent or they want to work in the business of sport because they get to hang out with players. Now, those roles are absolutely fine if that's where your genuine curiosity lies, but have a think about the reasons why you want to work in certain roles, particularly if you want to be successful in them for a long period of time. If you're going to have the energy to sustain yourself, you have to be pursuing things you are genuinely curious about because the work feels less like work over time. You enjoy staying after hours solving these types of problems. So Aman Alawalia, who we mentioned, he said he's always really enjoyed solving big problems. When we asked him, he said, I get a lot of fulfillment just figuring out solving big problems. And on another podcast, Aman talked about, I love thinking about the way that sport influences business. And when you talk to him, you can clearly see how much excitement and enjoyment and fulfillment he gets from his job. And now this eventually led him down the path of business analytics at the Kansas City Chiefs. He just loved mixing data with business in the space of sport. And the role that he's in, a lot of people get into that role by doing a straight up data analytics degree. He's gone down an MBA and then into a sports MBA. And so he's had to learn all these different things along the way, but he's learned them because he's genuinely curious about them. And that's what I love about Aman, because he's so passionate about what he does. It's clear he's found himself in the right spot, and that's just come from pursuing your genuine curiosity. And I think that's the best way to find your career direction. So another example closer to home, for me, I love creating great experiences. My reason for getting into sport was attending the Socceroos match in 2005 where they qualified for the World Cup for the first time in 32 years, and the crowd was just going absolutely bananas. A couple of other things I really enjoy are social media and tech. And so when I was going through my last year of university, there was an opportunity to travel to the US and attend a study tour focusing on sponsorship and technology in sport. And these were things I was super interested in. And when I got to my interview at Cricket Australia, these were the things I talked about. I said, I really enjoy following hashtag sports tech on Twitter and reading about the latest updates in that space. And although I hadn't had an opportunity to directly work in it into that time, I was able to demonstrate my genuine curiosity and passion for that space, which allowed these people to believe that, okay, he's got a genuine interest in this, therefore we think he's going to fit in well into the job. What about you, Ryan? I know you kind of started off in a community role, but now you've led yourself into partnerships.
Yeah, no, I love this story, and I love sharing it with you because you were actually you were a part of how I got into partnerships. No, I hadn't really considered it at all, to tell you the truth. I hadn't looked outside what I was doing in community cricket. And one day we got brought into a meeting with yourself, a few other people from the commercial team and digital team. And one of our partners wanted to really focus on community cricket as an opportunity to support community cricket, to make more people play the game, but also to promote their brand more. And it was only really at that point where I was like, it's an interesting concept. Like, obviously there's some partners who we do support, but like I hadn't really delved into that. So I guess off the back of that meeting, we essentially had to go away and come up with some ideas on how we can help. And that kind of got me thinking, at all the touch points that commercial had and how they can impact each part of CA and then obviously community cricket directly. But that just kind of sparked my interest in the possibilities of if we did nail that and if we, came up with some great ideas, the impact that could possibly have. There are, millions of people who play cricket. So imagine if we nailed this. And that just kind of got me thinking about, commercial is actually really cool. And there's no glass ceiling to what you can do in it. And that's, I think, what really it excited me on the spot, and I think as soon as that opportunity came, I was like, heck yes, I'm having a look at that. So yeah, it's funny how that happens. I remember you in that meeting, Rubes.
Well, I was going to ask, do you remember the walk that we went on after getting a coffee one day and you spoke to me about a sponsorship role at Netball Australia?
I did. Yes, I did. I remember that. Of course, always loyal to CA. I was never going to take it. But no, I thought about it because I was genuinely curious, as you said. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on it because it just sparked an interest. And I think sometimes with these things, you've got to strike while the iron's hot. Like I think I was really, really keen. And from then on, I was kind of looking for those opportunities. And it excited me. So I do remember that walk. Bedgood Coffee.
Yep.
Gianni, the barista, he'd be listening.
Yep. Well, I remember mentioning to you, I think, just hang tight. I'm pretty sure a secondment opportunity is coming up.
Yeah.
Your time is going to come. And
I do remember that.
That might have been a defining factor for this podcast.
Yeah.
Imagine if you went to that Australia.
Maybe that was the moment that, this was created.
Yeah, maybe. A lot of sliding doors moments.
Lots.
Yeah. But that's an awesome story though. And you've landed in such a cool spot that like a lot of people would want to trade places with you. So for those listening out there, if you are trying to pick the direction that you want to take your career, and you're trying to figure out where to go, a good way to figure out the path is just look out for times where you see something and you think to yourself, I wonder how they did that. Like, I wonder how that came together. Because if you want to know more about how a specific problem was solved, then you're more likely going to enjoy solving it yourself. And that's how you end up in a job that you truly enjoy and can do for a long period of time. So look out for those cues that your brain is telling you, as opposed to that glitzy job you think you want, and you will no doubt find your career direction pretty quickly.
Awesome. You've nailed it, mate. Couldn't agree more with that, and good to share some stories along the way.
Always.
We love stories here on the pod. Awesome. Well, thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.